Right, mic check, mic check. I think we're live. Mic check, mic check. I think we're live. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, every single body out there. I think we are looking at market morning session number 13, if I'm not mistaken, of the London session, where we pretty much discuss what I think is going to happen in the short term. So that's hours to a couple of days in the markets. We really like to focus on the London session because number one, that's when I have time to do this with you guys, and number two, because it's a good in between. London session naturally spills over into the New York session and starts after the Asian markets. So you've got a lot of volatility, a lot of money flowing in and out. For those of you who need to know why, right? So we're looking at a couple of things today. Off the back of an incredible trading session yesterday, and I say incredible. I'm really referring to to how markets are slowly recovering. So I'm talking about, hey Titus, good to see you, buddy. I'm talking about some risk on activity yesterday, right? So let's just quickly do what we normally do, guys. Right, so Ukraine and China. China watches warily as Ukraine makes US, EU, and Japan strengthen their alliance. Right, you know that China and Russia are in this weird alliance, but China will only get involved under absolute necessity. Right, so China is starting to worry about the global power, the clout around stuff. So that's quite interesting to see. I've been through all these headlines when I got up, or when I got to the office just before I started the live. So I can tell you now that there's not much interest in there. Russia-Ukraine war has hit many currencies hard, right? You can feel free to go through that. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm sure there'll be something in there that's interesting. This is from yesterday. All right, so I'm pretty sure no two countries run by. Okay, really? Yeah, there's not much here today, guys. Well, what I found interesting, however, is this. So in the Asian markets is down. All right, we need to talk about this AX200. When I used to trade this index a long time ago, man, when things were going crazy, but also more recently in 2018 and 2019, when Trump was going on a full-out war with China. All right, when Trump was going on a full-out war with China, the AX200 back then was SPI 200, which is basically the Australian index, right? This is basically the Australian index. I mean, just seeing that it was doing well reminded me why it was a go-to index during the China trade war. So you just need to write this down somewhere. When things are terribly bad in the world, and the big global countries are in the forefront of it. So I'm talking America, I'm talking China, etc., etc. The AUD or the Australian index fares quite well normally. All right, number one. Number two, it's very, very easy to follow, right? So this is the 2020 COVID dumping. So this is the A200 AUD. I've now added it onto our watch list for the war room on Sundays, right? So on Sundays, we'll also be adding, looking back into this play. I have not traded this index in a very, very long time. But you can see when life changed, right, for everybody globally for COVID, like this thing literally just ran for the hills, breaking several demands on its way down back into here. And I suspect these were all linked to a presidential order block. But even then, a lot of weak areas of value were taken out, right? So it's nice to have an asset that is very, very, very predictable, right? Since then, markets have then created, both on the presidential and on the governing chart, a new area of value, a new strong demand there. And that's quite exciting, right? That's very exciting for some of us who want long-term buys. And we've got a break of structure, and we've got some falling down, right? So watch out for this index, currently trading just above $7,000 for the entire basket of AUD top 200 companies. This will be a very nice place to get some action, somewhere inside here. If you do a multiple time frame analysis, use your 365 numbers, that will be a very, very, very good place to score yourself a long-term swing buy. All right, it moves gently, doesn't move too fast, doesn't move too slow, but it is quite a good stable index to learn how to trade. I'm switching over to the weekly time frame real quick so that you can just see what I was looking at before I started this live with you guys today, right? So we've got the following. There you go. And that looks something like that. And then after this, markets are just, falling through. And I really, really, really would love to buy somewhere inside here. You can see there's some insider buying, which we can talk to about some other time. We've got a broken supply up here on the weekly time frame, break of market structure. It's a big deal, right? So the buy recovery that will happen here will absolutely be amazing, right? Unless if markets, of course, China joins the war, whatever affects China always affects the AU 200. So this is something I'm looking for in the long run, right? If you're good at trading, then sure, you can also find some supplies going down. Just don't get caught out on the wrong side of price, right? So you really want to wait for some super high supplies. You can see markets didn't make it there. There was a rejection, there was a spring, there was a drop, there was a break of a demand, etc. But I really want to buy this, so I'm gonna wait a little bit up until price gets down there, right? So I just thought I'd bring this up because I did notice that I haven't paid much attention to the Asian index basket, right? Very soon I'll be doing a big video on Nike 225 as a request from a 365 student. So look out for that. But that in mind, this is a very good thing to jump on, right? X200. Your brokers might still have it the old way. It's changed its name a couple of times over the years. In fact, I struggled to find the correct one on TradeView, right? But in case you've got a different broker than me, also look up SPI 200. This was what they used to call the Australian index back in the day when I used to trade it, right? And then you just kind of like check for the price. So you're looking for something above 7,000, US dollars. You'll see similar patterns as AUD 200. It'll be like this on TradeView, but I'm saying on your actual trading broker. Your broker might not have it as AU 200. On my current broker right now, when I go crazy on indexes and I'm trading indexes long term, I like using AvaTrade. I think I've been very, clear about that. And AvaTrade, I just want to quickly check what they have it as. AvaTrade still has it as SPI 200. So my broker, SPI 200, is still this, right? But TradeView has changed the name, all right? And you can see here on CNBC, it's actually the AX 200. So yeah. Anyways, we're gonna close this now, and we're gonna catch up with some headlines. Right. So Europe's session. Russia says response to Western sanctions will be sensitive and precise. Right. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how else to take that. That just sounds like a threat to me, but I could be reading too much into this, right? I could read too much into this. But we've got positive vibes in the early trades, right? Based off yesterday's. You remember, guys, in yesterday's London session, all we saw was market recovery buys. Like Euro was buying, things that had been heavily sold for the last 2 weeks were trying to kind of like slowly start to recover. I'm currently inside the Euro JPY buy trade that we spotted together yesterday, and I'm sure there are many other buys that some of you are in, right? So this is all markets are carrying on as sentiment, but not just one type of sentiment. Markets also once in a while will go through market capitulation. All right, so there's so much bad news we can price in. Who else? If there's no one else selling and all the sellers are gone, right? All markets can do is do a cat bounce back, like a dead cat bounce back. The bounces don't have to always last, but you need just time to breathe, right? AKA short-term retracements, right? Nothing again today on the Euro calendar on Wednesday. Tomorrow is a big day in the markets for the dollar and the world with CPI data. We'll talk about Bitcoin later on. A headline: risks remain paramount in this trading landscape, right? Same thing, war. Our foreign ministers in Turkey this week. Japan government triples gasoline subsidy, okay, because of the energy crisis. Bitcoin rallied up 41,500 US dollars, and that's because that old Gogo came out and said something barely positive. She all they said was we're not gonna remove crypto. That's all they said. They said they're gonna regulate it. They said it's positive. There's the article here. So Helen, I'm sure I've shown you guys her face, right? I've shown you this old lady's face. Helen is the Treasury Secretary in the United States, right? She really just so we know, and just to put it like in clear proportion, this lady has been paid millions and millions and millions of dollars over the last 5 years by Standard Bank and many other banks, Bank of America, etc., are very much against cryptocurrencies. In fact, a massive campaign against crypto was that cryptocurrency was a way to fund terrorism. And it's like, do you even understand blockchain, right? It's a public ledger. The whole point of blockchain is so that it is transparent, right? Terrorists are better off using cash and money laundering because you can't easily track that. But anyway, Biden is issuing out an executive order on crypto today, by the way. Today is the 9th, according to these people. You guys remember that this was supposed to drop on the 9th or the 10th of February, right? And the president of the United States changed his mind and asked for an extra month, it seems. I never saw that type of communication, right? So those of you who are expecting the Walton 3 years financial notes, can you please give me another 24 hours? I just really want to read this report. I don't think it will change my plan, but just in case, I'd really love to see this executive order, which is going to be signed sometime today, roughly on about 9 or 8 or 7 p.m. South African time, give or take. So as soon as it's out, I will be on it. What is interesting was, when she released a press statement and it was put up on the Treasury website, and when we got a notification, it was taken down, right? And I'm pretty sure this article also says, the statement was posted on the Treasury website and then was taken down shortly, right? So I never got a chance to read the full thing, and I don't think anyone did, right? We all we got was sound bites. But basically, she says the president applauds the constructive approach, thoughtful around crypto regulation, and looks forward to working together with the various stakeholders. Those will just be the exchanges, Coinbase, Binance, etc., your big exchanges. So you're really hoping that those guys believe in their original vision and they don't sell out. You never know. But I'm just putting it out there, right? So because of this, Bitcoin did jump, about 7% yesterday, which is cool. I mean, I'm very happy with Bitcoin. I did tell you guys that for the most part right now, I am inside Bitcoin. I took a sell a long time ago, about 3, 4, 5 days ago, and now I'm simply just waiting. All right, I'm simply just waiting. I have broken even here, as you can see somewhere there. Give or take, and then markets are moving up, but we'll see. It really it's quite a tricky thing to kind of like tell, right? But if I get kicked out, I get kicked out, based on the activity of the markets today, right? So it's a fun time for Bitcoin. This will be good. Not all regulation is bad, right? We've spoken about this many times, that some regulation might be deemed necessary, right? Some regulation might be deemed necessary. So we'll see how that goes, right? So that's all we need to know about Bitcoin, right? Not much on the agenda. There's a lot of war going on in the world. Bitcoin rallied up. Australian Prime Minister Morris to declare national state of emergency. All right, I didn't even know this was going on in Australia, right? So that index we're looking at is most likely going to keep dropping, right? This is not good news. There's a flood. Some flood I didn't even know about, but that's definitely gonna shift the tides of that index, right? And we do wanna buy somewhere low down there, right? So I think that's it, guys. I think we can actually now focus on the charts. There we go. Bitcoin's crypto order will be signed on Wednesday, today, 9th of March. That's fine. All right, today edging more hawkish. But look at this: the Reserve Bank governor of Australia edging more hawkish, or at least less dovish, right? So there might be AUD strength. Just be very careful. We'll have to look at the charts. Unconfirmed reports of sources in NATO talks of a no-fly zone over parts of West Ukraine, right? These are just rumors. Remember, if they do a no-fly zone, then Russia can't actually fly in and drop bombs and do all sorts of things, right? So that's a big deal. But Russia did warn that a no-fly zone also means that the West is now in control of Ukraine and they'll respond accordingly, right? There's a whole lot of stuff. Russia calls for nationalization of production of plants of firms that have halted operations. Guys, I don't want to get into history. We're talking about markets. Russia is a predecessor of communism, USSR. Communism is big on nationalization, not the nationalization that Julius Malema and the EFF talk about. That nationalization is around capitalism. Communism is different. Like it's stricter, it's more brutal. Some people say it's more free. I'm an anarchist, so I actually like a lot of communistic ideas, not all of them, right? But Russia is basically trying to take control of its own country right now. Remember, no one there's got Facebook, no one there's got Twitter. Most people don't have electricity, no one's got money, right? At some point, they will run out of cash reserves. This is getting scary. This is getting scary even for Russian citizens, right? Because if people have halted productions like as a protest against the Russian government, then the government will just take over. And they've done it before. I mean, they're one of the only countries to run a communist nation for a very, very long time. That's why Russia and China are allies, right? Maoist or Maoism, which is a version of communism, is what the China head of state subscribes to, right? So, yeah, man, stuff is happening in the world. U.S. military repositioning two Patriot batteries to Poland. Interesting. More on U.S. Venezuela oil talks. Okay, we saw the war thing. Another thing about oil. I just want you to see something. Markets are starting to stabilize, and this is just based on yesterday and today. All right, so everything could change. But right now, this is the first time we've seen something like this. The first time we've seen oil. Remember yesterday when we looked at this thing, oil was at 122 in the morning. So remember, we're going through market cycles every 24 hours. It's been 24 hours since then, and oil is at 125. It was about 126 when I woke up. So oil is still significantly high. Brent oil 130. But check the pre-market. Indices across the board are also doing well, right? Normally you would have money in energy and indices suffering. Indices are still suffering, don't get me wrong. I mean, Nasdaq is down, 13. What's going on in the background there? In indices are down at about 13,000, right, for Nasdaq, but oil is still up. So markets are really, really, really hoping for some type of a normal day, normal week, give or take, right? If you look at Nasdaq 100 real quick, I mean, you wouldn't believe I accidentally forgot to undo. I was doing some type of analysis here, and I forgot to undo until I lost all my lines and all my previous about 2 years work of marking up this Nasdaq chart is all gone now. But I'll do it all over again. It'll give me an opportunity to back test. But this is where we are on the Nasdaq, on the weekly, on the daily. This is what we're looking at, right? So all you're seeing, when you see this thing green, right, and a lot of people start to celebrate and they jump for joy. Nasdaq is up today, or Nasdaq futures by 1 comma something percent, right, guys? What you're looking at in the markets is just this one small, tiny daily green candle. That's all. And you're looking at that little 1% movement, right? Bearing in mind that there's this massive 20-something, 22, 23% drop, right, that markets need to deal with, right? So it's like we're 1% up after a 22% drop. Okay, that's kind of like the language that markets should be kind of like writing these headlines, or at least you should be remembering this thing, that we're not yet in an uptrend. Today's green day, tomorrow's green day, and next week's green day has nothing to do with the state of the trend. Number one. Number two, if crypto is up, naturally equities will start to come up, because I keep telling you that between the crypto markets and the equities market, there's this new coupling. I can't explain it right now. I don't understand it, but a lot of professional companies, I'm talking mega caps, Apple, Facebook, even small caps, a lot of them, when I was preparing this financial note that's now done, the Wealth in 3 Years program, a lot of them now have Bitcoin in their bank balances. A lot of them have recorded Bitcoin as an asset, right? As something to hold as a company. And if that's the case, then you should start to see some more coupling, right? If Bitcoin goes up, Nasdaq and global stocks go up. If global stocks go down, potentially they might pull crypto down. And this has been the relationship for the longest of times, right? So there's something to just kind of like, just keep it at the back of your mind. Europe will not ban crypto mining. Yeah, that would be silly. All right, so I think we're done. What? There was a U.S. hostage. I didn't know that in Venezuela. But I think we're done with all this kind of stuff. The only thing to look out for today is obviously this executive order on the crypto markets. If it's in depth and there's a lot in it, I'll unpack it for you guys in a separate video. Right, so let's kind of quickly scan through our charts. Euro, most of our analysis from yesterday still stands, so I don't think we're going to spend too much time today. Most of our analysis from yesterday really still stands. There we go. Markets are moving up. You can see where I ticked on euro pound. I told you guys If you're a cowboy, take a trade. I want to come up here because markets have to fill a gap, and I want to have a trade swing in there. Markets triggered me yesterday. Now we wait and see. This cowboy stuff, I warned you guys. I literally take this with you yesterday, right? So now it's a waiting game. Markets came so fast in euro pound, really fast. So this unfortunately was not triggered in my intraday trading account. This for me is a swing trade. So this is inside my main swing trade account. I'm not taking this trade once again as an intraday trading account. This is for me is going to be a swing trade, because if you remember, my argument is to you that euro pound has a deep long dive, right? I keep showing you guys this chart. There's absolutely nothing to catch euro pound. So if euro pound starts selling at a swing level, I really want to be a part of that relationship. I really want to be a part of this long-term drop to the downside, but only time will tell. I still think it's early days for this particular swing. I still think that markets could revert against me. I still think that this gap might get filled before we go down, right? So I do have another pin in order somewhere up there. I have a small lot size here, holding price, and a stop loss just outside this entire area. So we shall see. But for those of you here for the intraday trading setups, well, I guess you're in as well. If you took the advice and ignored all those cowboy areas of value, the question is where to get off. And I suspect markets are going to be strong today, just a little bit strong, just like yesterday, just a little bit strong. And if that happens, you know, you might get a push up to the upside. So manage your risks accordingly. When you have two sell areas together, in my experience, price always goes for the higher one, right? We never know when, right? We don't know if this is it. You see this week here? It's hard to tell. For me, it's hard. Normally, it's easy to tell, but for this particular chart, I don't know if markets will consider this week a completion of the gap. Because remember, guys, this is really where the gap is, right? That's the gap. And then here we've got a full candlestick, and then price comes and fills it up. So if that's the case, then then you know, this area gap or markets fill it, you know, I'm not sure. But just in case, you know, I've got a trade setup up there as well. In my experience, markets always want to equalize all these gaps. And if you look back in any gaps we've pointed out, you know, some of them are still not filled, but a lot of them have been filled already. Right. So if we get a downside to euro pound today and you're an intraday trader trying to find a way out, I think your concern should just be trying to break even, to be honest with you. If you're selling and you have no interest in holding a massive negative balance up until markets correct themselves in here, then your primary focus today should be trying to break out of this trade. If I look on the 15 minutes time frame, now that markets are open, you can see that markets are ranging, markets are thinking, markets are consolidating. That means markets are gathering funds for a movement, right? This range here, from there to there, all of this is a range. And in this range, you will get brothers and sisters playing support and resistance game. They are going to get screwed over very soon. To me, this looks like a PCP to the downside, right? I could be wrong, but it looks like to me, if markets were to break out of this range, they should technically break to the downside. But given the fact that there's a gap above, right, this could be a bear trap. So really, guys, for me, it wouldn't make a difference. Like I said, I'm in it for the long haul now in euro pound. I'm in it until they take me out. This, for me, is something that I've wanted for a long time. I want to be in this trade. I want to swing it long term, right? So we shall see what happens here. But I can't see an exit, right? Maybe on the 50 minutes time frame, you want to consider dropping out of here just in case, right? But that's just a 30 pip run, so I don't know what your risk reward looks like, where you got in. Granted, if you break even, then you're kind of like risk free, right? On the 1 hour time frame, even the place where we chose to drop off on the 50 minutes time frame, there's not much confluence there. There's not much going on. There's nothing that actually says this is a demand on the hourly, right? You can see that markets did rotate around this area for a while on the hourly chart, but we don't really know how strong this area is anymore, right? But that could be a good take profit target, right? 40 pips drop. For those of you who are intraday trading, or you could have two positions running. You take profit on the first one, you break even on the second one, and then if you do and you swing a little bit with me, then maybe you exit here as I make my way down to that governing demand down there, right? So This is really a trader's choice. Trader's choice on this particular chart. You guys will decide for yourself. But for the most part, euro pound analysis from yesterday and the day before and last week, pretty much price is still following through. Euro USD. Okay, so we've got that slow upward movement that we spoke about. I warned you guys yesterday. What did I tell you guys? Cowboys finished last, right? Sometimes, most of the time. So there's no way anyone should have taken that trade. But if you did, I even asked you yesterday, how much money would you have made with this? Right from there to there, not much, right? Not much, just for price to take you up. So yeah, these early supplies, especially inside a strong buying area, never a good idea, right? But there we go on the 1 hour time frame. This for me is extremely risky. For me, it's extremely. I'll have to do a wick-up schematic just to actually decide if markets have done a spring, done clean distribution. But this is extremely risky for me to take for my accounts, right? So if markets come here, I have no, I really have no desire in just close my live account in the background. They're making this weird noise, right? I have no desire at all to take this sell. If I'm being honest with you, close this account too. There we go. Right. So that's, sorry about that. We should be golden now. Right. So Euro USD, I think I'm gonna wait and watch. If you guys are right and you decide to take this sell, look, I mean, it's got good imbalance. Don't get me wrong, but I'd only take this trade because markets had removed another daily area of value, right? But unfortunately, markets did break one daily demand, which we looked for it last time with a black line around it, right? This one here where we marked X, and then markets fell, right? So markets are still round about that area right now. This is where markets are right now. You see these dotted lines? This is where price is today. So markets are now making their way back up. Markets are making their way back up from this demand right here. Like first they broke the demand, but now markets are now making their way back up from it. So I'm assuming they reacted to one of these levels down here, somewhere down here where I said, you could get a buy, but it's not going to be clean. It's going to be up to the markets completely. And that's what we have here to our right. Now, I would prefer, if we're selling, if I'm honest with you, I would prefer to wait for a strong daily setup. I would prefer this to be the case. And then I'll think about tomorrow, right? I'll remind all of us that tomorrow is Thursday, and tomorrow we have CPI data. And so if we're looking at this intraday time frame, you kind of have to think how the markets operate. So what's this thing called? Forex Factory. I just want to quickly pull out the time. We know that the New York session starts around about 3 o'clock. We know that the stock markets will operate explosively from about 4 p.m. currently at the moment. And we know that tomorrow, being Thursday, CPI data will drop at 3:30. So just 30 minutes after the markets have opened and 30 minutes before the stock market starts to actively start to run, right? So this is a big, big moment for price. If you come to the 1 hour time from a Euro USD, you really track. I mean, won't have time today. You can tell today I'm just super flying, right? If you go through these things, this is always 9 a.m., right? Our lines show 9 a.m. But I always tell you guys, inside the 9 a.m.s, etc., markets also like to turn at, for example, the Asian session, which is midnight, and also the New York session, which normally starts at about 2 o'clock. So if you look at, 3 o'clock currently right now, this is 3 p.m. yesterday, right, where markets opened here in reaction to the previous supply, and then markets dropped, and then came back the next day at 9 a.m. Markets opened to equalize the 9 a.m. supply, which became the 3 p.m. supply in the New York session, which became the 9 a.m. open, right, yesterday, and then markets went on their way. And if you look carefully at about 3 o'clock again, markets opened at the same, roughly same place again yesterday, New York session, right? Then markets went on their way, the Asian markets, blah, blah, blah. And here we are now for 9 a.m. somewhere here again. Most of your openings have been congested here. I'm going somewhere with this, right? This is literally, this is, again, we will do it together. This is the Asian markets, Asian session, which starts normally at midnight, opening here. Markets rally into this point. We've got a 9 a.m. open down there, and then a New York session opens here. The New York session at 3 o'clock reaction to the Asian market opening. and then markets close, we get a 9 a.m. open here with this 9 a.m. open there. All right, I know it's getting messy, but just work with me. And then we get a New York open at about 3 o'clock back here, where the Asian and the New York open occur. And then now markets today are opening higher here. This is now the London session. First, the London sessions were opening down. Now they're starting to open up, right? My whole point is be very mindful of the pattern in front of you, right? Be very mindful of where smart money opens for the day, because wherever smart money opens for the day is always based on the previous order flows of the previous day. Remember, I used to be a flow trader, so literally my job to stack orders, not just be told when and why. And I know for a fact that the last hour of close for intraday traders is important for the opening hour of the next session. So if we open here today, and let's say we continue in this very choppy, ugly uptrend, right? And let's say we have a full day today of price going up. I'm not saying that's what will happen, but let's just say for the sake of argument, that's exactly what does happen. You have a situation where markets tomorrow have to open at a very specific place. I'm trying to draw that place for you. There we go. Right, so there we go. So we've got 9 a.m. 10th of March now, which is what we want to see. We like tracking the London session. Now, if perchance markets meander throughout the day today, Asian markets, opening time tomorrow, 9 a.m. here, and you see that tomorrow, tomorrow being Thursday, right? All this space here is for today. This is where there's going to be candles all over here by end of day today, right? Today is the 9th of March. I'm asking you that by tomorrow, between Biden dropping his executive crypto order tonight, South African time, and tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. when CPI data drops, this area of value here might be extremely important or extremely useless. If CPI is strong and it has the type of strength to push the dollar up, what's going to happen to Euro USD? Well, when Euro USD makes contact with the supply, it's going to have to fall. You saw NFP was positive, but dollar fell. Why did dollar fall? Dollar had just made contact with the governing supply. Let's look at where the dollar is today. Just guys, let me know if I'm clear. Those of you who are watching, I just want you to get the logic. People always ask, there's a big thing. How are you always predicting the news before it happens? I look at structure. I look at what the structure is telling me, and I try my level best to make sense of the structure. So dollar fell, even though we're a positive NFP. And the reason for that was because that was a perfect trap for very, very, very media level fundamental traders who always assume that it must work for a currency. Generally speaking, it should work for a currency, but remember, you only do what supply and demand tells you. So on Friday, price simply rallied into a supply and then dropped. And I'm saying to you that CPI is coming out tomorrow. Even though price dropped because it rallied into a supply, do not forget for a second that markets still did very, very NFP well, in the sense that euro dropped, pound dropped, even though the dollar itself was dropping. So this was one of the shorter versions of the supplies I'm referring to, right? Just like Euro USD, there is a B before you get to the C. Those of you who've been following all my videos, you'll know that if markets want to get to C and there is B, and right now price is at A, the quickest way to do that is to go through B to get to C. The quickest way to get to the supply is to go through it. It's simple. It's just to eat at it bit by bit. Euro USD is going through the same thing. There's a demand that price is at. It must eat through all those previous buyers. Now, if you look at dollar, since it arrived somewhere here, on the monthly, weekly, daily, we've had some type of a reaction, right? Look at this. All of a sudden from Friday, Monday, Tuesday. This was Friday NFP. Markets pushed back a little bit. This is Monday, and then Tuesday, markets are going back up again inside the supply, right? Full frontal. And this is important, guys, because you want to understand what's going on. You can see 2 red days, Monday, Tuesday, but when you look at a Kinahashi, it's telling you that, look, man, the buying volume has not come to an end. Sirid, are you here, by the way? There's a guy called Sirid in our public Telegram group. Sirid, brother, are you online? Just let me know. This is a parabolic structure. I saw your comment yesterday in the public Telegram group asking us about a parabolic structure. It looks like this. See that when I can draw price like you can't even draw a trend line. It's too steep. Parabolic structures are too steep, right? Well, a trend would look like this. And you're like, this is an uptrend. But when prices like this, parabolic structures, especially in crypto, we want this to snap, or this will snap. Whether we want it or not, it will snap. So what happens with prices, every time with a parabolic structure, there is an immediate near-term correction because markets don't want to snap completely. They don't want to lose the trend. And so immediately they correct and maintain an upward trend. So that's what I think is going to happen with the dollar soon rather than later. And one of these reports, be it CPI tomorrow, number one, or the fact that the Fed might not do what everyone's expecting him to do on the 16th of March with the interest rate, will be one of the biggest dollar corrections, not drastically big, but big enough to allow for this parabolic structure to self-correct, right? So on the daily time frame, we can see we've got two red candles. If you go by normal candlesticks, yesterday was just a very weak red day, but for the most part, price is still going up. And you can see, even though on the daily, we have such a strong parabolic structure, look what it looks like on the H4. H4 is like, yeah, we're not going to fall for that trap. We are parabolic on the big structure, but we're going to slowly but surely start to autocorrect, right? All of this sideways trading helps a lot to sustain an upward trend so that it does not get too parabolic to a point where it snaps, right? So you've got this flirtatious movement here on the DXY, on the H4, inside a daily supply, weekly supply, monthly supply. They're very much trading sideways. Why? Markets are waiting for CPI, right? If CPI is positive and dollar believes, you know what, we've done our part, we've cooled down a bit since NFP, this will send price flying. If that sends price flying, then once again, Euro USD is open for further downsizing, and that might actually just be the 1 hour supply to do the job. So the only way I'm taking this trade, you see, it doesn't even a lot of confluence. It's a really high risk cowboy trade that might actually be worth it. It really actually just might be worth it, right? This area of value here is potentially good. I like the distribution of price. So now we wait and see how close price gets to it today, and then we wait and see where markets will be tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. for the receival of CPI, which will be covering the big elephant in the room, that is inflation, right? So I'm going to move on from Euro USD, Euro CAD. If the analysis is already done from yesterday, guys, I'll just move on. Right, there we go. Analysis already done from yesterday. I'm not in this trade. I did not take the sell trade. I don't know if anyone is in it. If you are, good for you. You've been triggered. Wishing you all the best. I only wanted to take this trade based on the fact that I needed price to first come down. And remember, the trade idea was to really buy yesterday. It was to buy EuroCAD, not to sell, right? So this is a good place to sell, sure, but I'd have loved to sell 5% worth of my lot sizing based on the profits made in the buy. I did not get to buy this asset, therefore I'm not risking my capital on a lower supply like this. EuroCAD has a lot of beautiful higher supplies, so we'll see how much price handles this area. I can tell you right now, the reaction to this supply is both positive and negative. Positive in the sense that this could be a bearish engulfing pattern on the H4 time frame, which means if you're in, right, you're almost golden, right? You're almost golden, a beautiful drop. The problem is markets have also exceeded or exhausted every single buy order in this particular, sell order in the zone, which means there is no chance in hell that this zone could handle multiple touches, right? So you might get a touch to the upper side, right? And if this bearish engulfing pattern works out, great. Let's look at it on the 2-hour time frame. Then you're looking at something, you know, slightly amazing, right? Markets could drop a little bit. This is an unfortunate place to take profit because your risk to reward ratio isn't that great at all. So this is kind of like the type of trades I like to avoid, right? But yeah, if you're in it because you saw it and you liked it, all the best here. I really wanted first to be part of the upward movement. I think there's still a strong push to the upside, even though we know that there is no daily flow, right? The daily flow has been broken. We spoke about this yesterday. Looked at this pin, it literally obliterated all the buyers before markets went up without them, right? And there's this whole ugly red zone on the weekly time frame. For those of you who remember, all of this area of value here is like just a lot of stuff going on that we still need to carefully look at, right? So this is, markets are all the way up there. They did break this green zone, right? And so landed somewhere inside this new red zone. But until then, I would like to sell. I would definitely like to sell. I personally just can't sell where price is right now, right? But if you are in the trade, that's good for you, right? I will also warn you that for retail traders, this is a very good reversal pattern. When you got dumb traders, a spring and a strong green candle to the up, you might get money as price pushes down to retest something, right? You might even be lucky enough to get a full retest all the way down there. But that's quite rare because this is not really your typical bullish engulfing pattern. This is more like a morning star, shooting star, rising star, whatever it's called. I forget. But the point is, this is a very strong reversal pattern, which means money wants to go up. So I'll be looking for swings on the daily time frame to go down. And I don't think that's going to happen sometime today. I think today we're going to see a further push to the upside on Euro CAD. Now, next one, Euro NZD. Sorry guys, I gotta fly, right? There we go. Same, like Euro AUD, same trade idea, same. I'm not gonna waste too much time. If you're trying to sell on the 1 hour, you've now arrived at your first bus stop. I will not be with you. There's a clean break-up structure to the upside. There's a strong supply. You can see it. You can see how markets are planning for it. Sometimes when you've got a pending order, right, and you set and forget, and then during your routine reviews, those are things you need to look at. You go, but what's going on here? My sell isn't triggered, not because I haven't drawn my area of value correctly. Remember, but to draw area of competition of price correctly here, it'll be somewhere there, right? But we've got a bigger zone, right, for more, right? So we're somewhere here. And all of a sudden, just before markets get there, there's this. What is this? It's a consolidation, it's a range. Markets are thinking, markets are making up their minds. Why? Why are markets doing that? Well, fundamentally, it's a conversion of buyers, right? Buyers and sellers. And they're trying to figure out, do we come back down here and then push up? Or do we have enough here to push up? The ranges before a strong order block in area of value are never a good idea, all right, for you most of the time. But if you look at this type of recovery, you've got the situation where markets break. I personally, like I said to you guys yesterday at 9, I personally would have very much preferred for price to then realize how strong buying momentum is and come back here and pick me up. I would rather buy in the short term for intraday trades. Guys, don't get confused. Sundays, long-term swings, we trade like the governor. During the week, intraday trades, we trade in line with the daily movements, right? Now, daily becomes our governor. And right now, all these euro charts, all these risk-sensitive charts, all these charts that have been destroyed by the war, man, they just want to break. They just want to breathe. They're like, look, man, we'll go back to falling. We get it. But geez, Louise, can we have a break? And I'm thinking, wow, if I can catch a quick short buy trade somewhere in the smaller time frame and swing this up there and then sell when banks are selling, that's a good trade idea, all right? But anyway, we could get cut off anytime. Look at the H4 time frame. We've already marked up some key levels. But my thing is, if we're already all the way up here with price, why not just get to this daily supply and then we can rock, right? So I won't be taking these short-term 1 hour sales with you guys like I explained yesterday. They definitely they could work. They could run for even up to 20, 30, 40 pips, right? But for the most part, whatever happens up there, whoever's risking their own money, please put a lot of your own money so that price can come down here, right? And by the way, if you don't know, that's a joke. I'm being sarcastic. Never use your money to remove smart money levels because you can't. You don't have enough money to do that anyway. You will just lose your capital, right? But it's a good place to buy. It's a good place to buy. But I need to buy. Understand this. I need to buy first here before price goes all the way up there. I don't want to leave down from up here, coming down, then buy, right? I won't be able to buy down here if markets collect from a daily supply. So I need markets to turn around quickly, like that, right? But be very careful, anything can go. Anything can go on this chart, right? So markets could, like I said, stop somewhere here and then come back up and take you out here for the day, right? So intraday trading, just remember you need about 3 order blocks going your direction. If you've already been triggered going your way, you get 3 or 2 order blocks, 2 very strong order blocks, you break even. Get out of the trade, break even. You're risk free, go make more money somewhere else, excuse me, right? It's a simple thing. As soon as you're done with your 5% and you're in place, don't break even too early, all right? Because there's something like that as well where you get stopped out. Allow markets to do the rules. You know that some zones, I'll catch up later. Let me do one or two. Not a stress, Siri, not a stress, buddy, not a stress. Right. So this is it. This is it. This is pound AUD. Or saying, by the way, don't rush to break even. You really want to make sure that all your market rules are met, right? So you want your fresh touch, your retest. You just want to observe these things, right? Markets are slowly but surely coming back to where I said we might consider buying, right? This is pound AUD. We are in overall for swing traders, for institutions, we're in a downtrend. So every time an opportunity to buy slowly but surely starts to present itself, we always want to double check if what we're doing is right. We really want to be absolutely sure. If you look here on the daily time frame, it looks like literally a bunch of angels or devils falling out of heaven. Like literally, it's raining, or it be? It just seems like the Matrix here. And you're just trying to figure out, well, who's going to catch price? Where will price get caught? Where price is right now is somewhere here, right? That's where it is. But where price just left from, right? So markets last left somewhere there. And honestly, I don't even have the energy to investigate if that zone has been broken. I would like to believe it is. But even if it's not, you have this situation now in price. And then you've got markets here also reacting. So you've got this area reacting to that, and you've got a value-based demand at the bottom, and then that's it. No, there's more as you go further left, right? But for the most part, this will be your immediate areas of value. And so I'm very split on this particular asset because I do believe that markets need to take a break, man. They've just been falling nonstop, right? But I also believe that markets are looking for some type of retracement. If anything, if selling is to continue, right, markets might actually want to go, okay, yes, let's continue selling, but please, can we just take a short break? Can we get better prices? The real idea of a retracement is always, can I get better prices? I want to sell as high as possible. Can I get better prices? Right. So you know, I still stand by the buy, but just so you know, it's a very risky buy, and it's going to get triggered today. It's a very risky buy, and it's probably going to get triggered today. So just bear that in mind. If you've got small capital, you're not into risky trades, you know, then watch your back. On the 2-hour time frames, we've got a broken structure. We've got nothing to stop price. We've got a very clean demand. We've got good distribution into it, right? It's a potential. Remember, pound, AUD, euro, risk sensitive. One silly headline, Biden pedals. Another oil headline, all of it is gone. All our stop losses are getting hit. I can guarantee you that. But for the most part, it's a sound buy in the short term. And you want to exit this buy somewhere here. You do not want to be caught dead holding this buy in the long term. You want to exit the buy somewhere there, which might give you just barely 1:3. Granted, if you break even at the right time, then you should be golden, because then it's just free money. But right now, the trade idea itself, the question is the trade idea valid, right? And the answer is yes. It's 1:5, almost 1:5 type of trade situation. So it's well worth the risk, in my humble opinion. On the 1-hour time frame, we've got something similar. You know, markets have reacted to that and are turning, and then there's that, right? So I would watch out for this area as my take profit. And then somewhere in this yellow area is where I would go for a swing trade on pound AUD, right? So I've got my short-term trades buy and my long-term sell trade set up on pound AUD, right? So watch out for that. Euro JPY, Markets were very strong yesterday. We took a couple of buys yesterday. I'm pretty sure a lot of you saw and are in it. I broke even somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I did close my live accounts. I can repower it back on just to show you. But I broke even at some point. Let's quickly find our charts from yesterday. Right, there we go. So markets came back in here. This is yesterday. All right, you guys can see this is yesterday, the 8th of March, just like we marked out. Similar trade idea to a pound AUD that we just saw, only this moved a little bit quicker ahead of time. Nothing on the H1 that I was considering as a thing that would turn price against me. I expected retracement. I expected retest of zones. Markets broke structure. I'm very happy, and now I'm still holding. I need to decide on an exit. I don't think I've put a take profit on euro JPY. I honestly have not put any type of take profit. Take profit will probably be somewhere here, and it's somewhere there because I think that's a significant area of value to consider, right? That's where you make the mistake now of holding for too long. For short-term trades, you probably want to get out in this yellow zone, even though markets might go all the way up for those of us who want to swing this thing back down, right? So for those of us who want to swing this thing back down, it's just above where we're going to take profit today, right? So markets set right there by that zone now, after coming to retest us all the way down here. And somewhere here is a fake supply. It's kind of fake, man, because there's not really a strong module one imbalance. This could still work. Banks could work because there's a verified, qualified H4 supply somewhere in this mess, all right? But all of this here, qualified H4. But on the daily time frame, it's a very tricky scenario to hold, right? But all of a sudden, this market is now moving back up. It gave us very, very clean sell trades. The 9 a.m. sessions that we kept looking at, I think the first 5 of the London sessions were priced originally took off somewhere here, right? So it was London opening, and then markets opened back here after the New York session opened, and then markets opened again here. The London opened on the 23rd of February, and markets have been dropping ever since, right? And we did talk about a lot of clean order blocks. For example, the one that I've just extended here, that price might need to revisit one day. But there's still a lot of a big mess here. And to be honest with you, the first immediate area of value that we're looking into this gray block here. That's the first time, I might actually consider selling euro pound. And that's only because, if you look at how markets broke down from this area here on the higher time frame, this is the latest, most immediate area of value that needs to be mitigated, right? So, trader's choice, trail your profits or take profit when you get to the yellow zone. That's euro JPY. Euro AUD, crushing and burning, crushing and burning. Right, markets are dropping, right? Just like yesterday again, we identified solid buy areas, right? I don't know if you guys took any of them, but this was 9 a.m. when markets opened. Markets have not come back, at least to this place that I said I was going to wait for. So we're going to see, following the shape and pattern of all the other euro risk sensitive assets. Strong buys from yesterday, right? We'll open one of these 1 hour supplies, would send price down quickly before going back up, right? And then we shall see where we exit. So right now for me, euro AUD is a waiting game. Just like yesterday, euro Swiss franc. I think this one found a new bottom or opened or something weird happened, right? So there we go. We've got the Fibonacci in play. I'm going to delete that. So, what did I delete? All right, I've got 2 Fibonacci's. Oh, okay, I see. Right, so I was doing this last night, 2 Fibonacci's at the table. All right, so we've got a situation here where markets obviously, I think, have no bottom and prices just rallying all the way up. All right, and now we've got this situation here. I don't think I'm going to be taking any of these sell trades with you. I do want to sell euro Swiss franc, but I'm going to sell it here by the gray, not the green. Personally, I'm going to sell it by the gray and not the green. And the reason for that is, again, there's no bottom. This thing needs to create new major turning points. right? And who knows how long that'll take. And so what I want to do with this trade is, this is kind of like trade I wanna swing south. Well, technically speaking, you can see, even if you assume the price made contact with this 1 hour supply, the green zone, which it didn't, market inefficiencies today, price is already filling up this area of value. That's number one. Problem with this chart already on the day is the fact that we still have an arrow, a strong buyer's momentum coming to the upside. So it actually might be beneficial to wait here, to be honest with you. It might be beneficial to wait higher, wait for some type of distribution before markets go down. So I want to be very clear once again. If I sell here, it'll be a short-term sell, risking accordingly. But if I want to swing this thing, I'm going to swing it there. Now that we've actually got some type of swing high, swing low on the daily, it's actually also a good idea to do a Fibonacci. Yeah, definitely in the yellow area, that's what I'm going to wait for. I'm not going to swing, oops, wrong thing tweeted. I'm not going to swing by the gray, I'm going to swing by the yellow order blocks. It's higher, it makes sense, and this area here is going to get taken out on the daily. Just remember my words, right? So Euro Swiss franc for me, sell idea, but selling up there. We'll wait a couple of days for that to kind of like happen. Pound USD broke that NFP area of value. I'm just waiting. I posted on this on my Instagram and Facebook page. There's not much to tell, right? I just want to sell somewhere up there. On the H1 time frame as an entry for sure. But I'm gladly gonna do my best to swing this trade, right? So I'm gonna do my best to absolutely swing this trade to the up to the downside. I just want to make sure I have one yellow zone on the charts. So it'll look something like this. Okay, it'll look something like this. There we go. Right. So yeah, guys, there's a potential good swing on pound USD. I mean, we come to the sessions, you know our thesis on pound USD. Pound USD is like this, pound USD is like that. Pound USD is falling, is following Euro USD. It's on top of a demand right now, so we want to see that demand activated. We don't know how strong that demand is going to be. On the 1 hour time frame, it looks something like this. So this big zone here is the daily, all right? I need to find a better place to mitigate a sell supply. Nothing, all of this here. If I can draw a trend line, we're in trouble. There we go. So if you see, if I can do that, we are now officially in trouble because markets have broken structure. So I don't even try selling anything here. Between there to there, don't waste your time. This zone is for risk takers who want to sell. I don't think price is going to stop for anyone. All right, so watch out for that. And then you can start trying for intraday here, for swings somewhere in here, but we'll get to these zones when time comes. But right now, all risk assets are moving beautifully in uniform. Guys, the reason why we do this every day, especially for intraday trades, if you start to see this, very soon my London sessions should become boring. When they become boring, you must then make note of what that means to you. It means you are starting to see price very clearly. And if you're starting to see price very clearly, you are on your way, because if you can predict this stuff and it's now boring, it's just routine, I think trading is fascinating. I definitely want to sell here. This is a supply that broke, that was formed and shaped on NFP. So I know a lot of money was put in. NFP is a big event. This gray zone here, right? This was the Friday sell trade. I personally took this NFP trade and broke out end of day Friday. So I'll definitely want to try my first sell setup here. Don't sell anywhere in between, all right? Unless if you're strong. But repeat, rinse, repeat. As soon as those markets start becoming your second language, then you'll start to speak money. The last chart, ladies and gentlemen, UK 100. The last chart, UK 100. I think if you remember carefully, I told you guys that I'm making my way. I am waiting patiently for a better. Why does this chart look different than the one we analyzed on? Let's go UK 100. Let's go capital.com. It's just that all my charts are quite marked up, so I know them. There we go. Right. So, if you're good at what you're doing, and I don't see why not, you can find some short-term buys. Find some type of retracements, right? Markets are creating PCPs. The thing about FTSE, it's cheap, but it moves very choppy movement. And so for me, I found that it exhausts me. Like from watching this trade move, it's so exhausting, right? We've got a PCP formulating up on the 2-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, this is what I mean by choppy up, down, sideways, up, up, up. But the long-term trend is going up. You can see that markets are doing their best to deal with the seller's blows, broke this supply, now dealing with this one. This is a PCP. A cowboy, not me, but a cowboy would put a buy stop order here. A cowboy, a crazy cowboy, like a proper crazy cowboy, and a stop loss there. Why would a cowboy do that? A cowboy would say, well, it's an uptrend, and yes, markets are going to make contact with the supply, I'm sure. And if price does go back down, I'm hoping that it doesn't stop me out, right? So your stop loss has to be this wide if you're a cowboy. I don't suggest it. I'm just letting you know how other traders would see this as an opportunity, because a buy stop order means trigger me on your way up. That's what a cowboy would do. All right, I'm not a cowboy. I will not be doing anything of those lines. In fact, I feel like it's too late for me to even bother trying to sell. Trying to buy. I'm hoping that markets ignore this supply. I'm hoping they come all the way inside here, and this will be my trade idea. I'll be willing to sell FTSE there, bearing in mind I am sacrificing a potential place for price to drop. Because remember, the longer term trend is downward, so markets might not care for what Leroy wants. Number one. Number two, don't forget there's a gap up here. All right, there's a gap up there. I hope there are not too many lines on the charts all of a sudden that people can't see, but there's a gap up there. See that there? There's a gap there. So all I care about is a good stop loss outside this zone and an entry there. That's why I'm hoping that markets can bulldoze through this gray zone, because I can't afford to sell here and hold this entire zone. Ladies and gentlemen, 365, shake my hand. I appreciate all of you. Have a beautiful Wednesday. I think today's Wednesday. Yep. And I will see you as soon as I can. So I'll see you tonight or tomorrow. If Biden says anything productive, scary on crypto markets, I'll be waiting for that, because I really want to start releasing my financial notes. But I don't know. I thought notes would be out by February, because we were told the executive order would drop on the 10th of February. Right now it's dropping on the 9th of March. So I really have to look at that piece of document, see if any, because what the thing is, they kind of tucked John from Africa, right? They kind of tucked Moses' crypto wallet from South Africa, Namibia, Kenya, even the ones in the United States. But what regulators can do, what is within the power of the United States, is to go against the exchanges. And when you go against the exchanges have to change the way they operate, which then affect your access to your money, the type of crypto you can hold, when you can hold it, how long you can hold it for, all sorts of things, right? I'm not trying to scare anyone, but regulations are good. But we know that we've got a go-go, an old lady and an old man in charge who are not futuristic right now, right? So we really want to see and understand how those silly people are thinking, and then we hope to God that the regulations are positive, like the headlines are implying, right? That they do see the innovation, they do see that the financial systems really do need to be changed. But until I see that, and then we'll be very happy, because remember, it's my financial notes of how I'm investing. But if people subscribe to them, I have to automatically assume that someone is reading my stuff and taking it seriously. And so I need to make sure I safeguard your money and mine in the long run. Just to be clear, nobody invests with Leroy. You don't invest with me. You don't invest with my academy. We don't want your money. When you enroll for the financial notes, I just give you my plan and you do what you want with it. For educational purposes, you see where I'm investing, how much I'm buying, what I'm buying, etc. Feel free to print it and take it to your financial advisor. But yeah, 365. Cheers. Goodbye. Goodbye.